Hello and welcome to The Reading Room, the podcast brought to you by your Rowan County Public Library. I'm Morgan.
And I'm Emery.
And it is September, which is a great month. It looks like summer is finally starting to lose its battle to autumn. I've seen some trees changing color. I've seen some leaves actively on the ground where I would love to be. So I think that that's good news.
Yes, I would definitely say it's good news. I think we're about done with the 87 to 107 degree weather. It's Kentucky. I'm sorry. We're not, there's a reason that I've never thought, let me move to Arizona. Mm-hmm. I wasn't built for that.
It's a difficult change for everyone to handle. I mean, like, climate change is real and we are feeling it because it's also the 87 to 107% humidity.
Oh my God.
That's what kills me because I prefer cooler weather, but I can deal a lot better with warm weather when it's dry. It's when the air gets that swampy feeling to it and there's no wind and it's just sitting on you. And it makes it hard, I feel like, to go out and enjoy the day, even if you are doing something outside that you enjoy, like gardening. You can't go out and have a good time doing it. It becomes work instead of leisure or whatever because the weather is just so uncooperative. And I hate that I can see it keeping people inside because, like, I don't want to go out.
Yeah, absolutely. The other day I was planning on going to the lake and I walked outside and I was like, well, good news. I don't need to go to the lake to go swimming anymore because I'm actively drowning trying to breathe right now. So, like, no thanks. However, people wanting to be inside is a little bit good for the library.
Yeah, and the weather taking a turn for the better is also good for us because we have some events coming up that are going to be outdoors. So this beautiful fall weather that we have moving in, perfect timing. Thank you, Mom Nature.
Mom Nature. Mom Earth.
Yeah, because I don't know about y'all, but the 17th of September, that Saturday, next Saturday, is going to be the Arts and Crafts Festival here in Rowan County, and I'm really looking forward to it.
Morgan's going to be there, so, like, why aren't you?
Yeah, I'm going to be there with Hannah, and you should come by our table and see us, because it's going to be a beautiful day. I am manifesting this now. It's not going to be like Freedom Fest, where it was like 108 degrees the entire time.
It's also not going to be pouring rain.
That too. Yeah. That too. Yeah, knock on wood. But the Arts and Crafts Festival, every year, I think that it gets better because it is so different every time. I can't pin it down. And that's not just because they keep changing the name. It's because there are some people that you start to expect to see there. Like, there is this one family who has a lemonade stand. And they come and set up at basically every outdoor festival that Rowan County and Moorhead have. And I always look forward to seeing them because they give you infinite refills at a discount if you have one of their cups. And their lemonade is also very good. And that is all that gets me through when it is 108 degrees. But it's that local small town charm that you get where you look forward to seeing specific faces you know to expect. But you also can always find some surprises at the Arts and Crafts Festival. Different people are there every time, and they have different art. And we have so many great professional and folk artists around here. They are selling their paintings. They've got woven and fabric goods, from garments to just, like, woven art. Jewelry, because I know Hannah actually makes jewelry. I don't know if she's going to be have any with her.
I don't think that
she's not going to be selling it at our booth, to be clear.
Obviously, I don't think that she's planning to this weekend because I'm pretty sure she's going to be working with you the duration of the festival. But she does make incredible jewelry, and if you're already downtown, that's an excuse to check out Coffee Tree Books, where she does sell some of her jewelry.
Oh, yes.
They have some of her jewelry in the bookstore for sale. She is Flower Power Jewelry, so go check that out.
I am really hoping that our table is in about the same spot this year as it was last year, because they put me very close to Coffee Tree Books. And that was wonderful because come lunchtime, the Fuzzy Duck was just right there.
Which is great for you, great for their business. So we love to support them.
Yeah. We love to support all of our local businesses and our artisans as they come out and share their skills and their crafts. And especially looking at what other people have done gives me ideas of like what we can do here for our arts and crafts programs. Because like, we have Crafting Around on the second Monday of every month. Jess does that from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. And she and Sandy, whenever they do a craft program, always have great ideas. And I'm every time asking, where did you find this? Where did you get inspired by this? It's always like, oh, Pinterest. I'm like, oh, man, people are just so artsy and they come up with such great stuff. And I love seeing it on display up and down Main Street, but I also love looking at it and being like, okay,
we could do that.
How did you do that? Because we could do that. We could teach other people to do that. Will you show me so that I can take this back to the library and we can share it with the rest of the community? And most of the time, people are just like, yeah, absolutely. People love to share.
One of my favorite things I feel like recently, as far as like just artistic mediums goes, I guess, that I've been seeing a lot of, and I hope that somebody will have some of them at the Arts and Crafts Fair. I've been seeing so many people making like these, I guess they're like macrame plant hangers. Have you seen those?
Yes. Those are becoming a trend recently. And it's weird because there are a lot of things that have been trends in the past that we kind of sometimes poke fun at, or sometimes we think they're cool or whatever, like bell bottoms. They were big in the 70s during the disco era, and then they went away, and then they came back in the aughts. And I feel like I've never really been part of one of those trends where it's kind of like it was cool when I was younger, and then it's bounced back and a new generation is rediscovering it. And I'm not sure if that's good or bad. Like, I don't know if it's a sign that I'm just getting old, that my turn has finally come. But I'm a little upset that macrame plant hangers is the one. Because I remember being a child, we had several of those in our house. And I don't know if Mom made them herself because she does crochet, or if she got them from somewhere, like maybe a family member made them. I don't know. I just know that we had a bunch. And I still have quite a few, I guess, in their house. But now, all these years later, people think that it's cool again, thanks to like Pinterest and other crafting websites and communities saying, hey, you can do this and here's how. And that spread of information has chosen this as its avatar. And I don't know how to feel about that. Like, out of everything you could have plucked from the late 80s and early 90s, this is what you chose.
Okay, but they are cool.
Not leather clothing with too many zippers on it that don't do anything, but macrame plant hangers.
They are cool.
They are.
And I know a lot of people are selling them right now, so maybe there will be some at the Arts and Crafts Festival.
I hope so. I'm going to buy one if there are.
If there are, I mean, you might...
For nostalgia.
You might need one. Like, I feel like it's just like a millennial situation to collect way too many plants.
Well, it's because we can't afford to have children and like regular families, so we have to have something that can depend on us, that we feel like we provide for. And since it costs so much to live in an apartment that allows pets, but plants are free. You can just pull them out of the ground and have them anywhere.
True.
You can just go out into the woods and get one.
Oh man.
So our plant children are just that.
Yes, they are our children. They are.
And our children deserve the best macrame plant hanger that we can weave for their designer, like their bougie pot that we got from Target.
With our little, we're going to get some, okay, on a serious note, have you seen some of the wood burning stuff that people, every year they bring to the Arts and Crafts Festival?
Honestly, that is a medium that... It's weird because it seems so accessible. Like, anyone can etch a piece of wood and then take one of those long, like, grill lighters or whatever and kind of pass it back and forth over and burn it. And that in a way by itself makes it seem even more incredible what some people do with it, because anyone can just pick up tools for cheap and do this. And these people not only turn it into art, but they do stuff that I cannot believe and that I cannot imagine doing with those tools.
Yes, absolutely. I 100% agree. I was going to make a joke about how I would have this whole bougie setup for my plant child, where it would be in its macrame hanger that I had gotten from the Arts and Crafts Festival.
In a wood-burnt plant bowl, like planter.
Yeah, my planter for it would have wood burnings around the outside that I also...
Around the outside.
Okay.
Also millennial.
Hope you're not too young to get that, because then I'm going to feel really bad about myself.
If they know who loves orange soda, they will also get that joke.
Yeah.
I was just thinking about that. That's the way to gauge the age. Do you know who loves orange soda? If not, get away from me.
Then don't talk to me.
Yeah, don't talk to me. I don't
have
time. Speaking of talking, the next Saturday after the Arts and Crafts Festival, we have another big event coming up, and I am, if possible, even more excited because I have been waiting for literal years. The Cave Run Storytelling Festival is finally coming back, and it is going to be the 23rd and the 24th. Oh my goodness. We are sponsoring it again this year, and we are going to be there with a table. We're not going to have the bookmobile there, unfortunately. And part of that is because our own local Jeff Fannin, the owner of Print USA, is organizing yet another charitable event. He's going to have a parade on the 24th, on that Saturday, and our bookmobile is going to be in that, and it's going to be celebrating. It's another kind of Just As I Am event for our local youth who have mental and cognitive developmental disabilities. So our bookmobile will be in that parade, and there's going to be like a free cookout and some stuff down by Laughlin, I think. Laughlin Health Center at the edge of the university campus. We will also have a table there, and that's why the bookmobile is not going to be at the Storytelling Festival. Instead, we will just have a table. We will have some stuff, materials, signs, tell you about library services. But who cares? Because you should be there for the stories, because oh my God, the lineup that they have.
When I tell you that I've literally never been more excited for anything in my life, listen, the Storytelling Festival is my favorite thing. And that does not come with like an asterisk. It's not like, well, but I, like thing as in like event, like really, obviously I love cheesecake more. Obviously I love my dog more. No. No, I don't. The Storytelling Festival is my favorite thing, capital F, capital T, on this planet. And I have had to go without it for the past 2 years. It hasn't been 3 years, has it? No,
it's 2. Yeah.
2 years. The past 2 years, which it feels like a lifetime. But
does.
I'm just absolutely thrilled that it's coming back this year, and you're gonna have to come because
unfollow me now. This is the only thing that I'll be tweeting about for weeks.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
If you don't show up, I don't know, probably like you think that your socks are clean if you flip them inside out. Like that's the kind of person you are. I don't know. But
it says terrible things about you if you don't come.
It really does. So you have to come. You're going to have to show up, and you're going to see us at our table there, but you're also going to see some of us volunteering to work as monitors in the tents there, and you're going to see some of us just around working different little jobs for the festival. So
yeah, we have a lot of folks involved down there. We've got our hands in every aspect down there. Like I said, we are sponsoring. And there are a lot of other great sponsors as well that are helping to make this happen, that have brought some wonderful tellers to the lineup. Geraldine Buckley is going to be there. And she was one of the ones that I got to see before, and I still remembered that performance. I still repeat the stories that she told at that festival to everybody who will listen to me. And
she is fantastic.
You have to go see her. But Sheila Arnold is going to be there. Andy Irwin is going to be there. Bill Lepp, Antonio Rocha, Paul Strickland, Don White is coming back. It's just, and I have really missed out on the Storytelling Festival before this. I've said this before on the podcast, that even I can't believe I only ever got to go one time because somehow it just missed me. Like, I didn't know for a while that it was a thing. And this is the 22nd annual one. So, like, I had 20 years. I don't know what happened, but somehow I just didn't know that it was a thing, which is why I'm making a big deal about it now, because after having gone only one time, I really keenly felt its absence during the quarantine lockdown. And now that it is finally coming back, I am so excited and I want to make so much noise about it. And you've got to go. And there are like family prices. Go ahead, get your tickets now, because it is going to be more expensive at the gate. You can still get tickets the day of, but if you get them in advance, they are cheaper. And they do have family rates, and it costs almost nothing for kids. So bring the whole family. And of course, it's a festival. There's going to be other stuff going on besides just the storytellers, right? They have the main attraction, but they're going to have some special, like there's some ghost stories going on.
That is Saturday evening, and
at 7, I think.
I don't know that the time has been announced for it yet. They normally try to wait until like the sun is at least going down, if not all the way down. So I'm not 100% sure on the time, but that one is Saturday evening.
And besides that, we're going to have a bunch of vendors there who have all the usual festival treats, right? Like, I don't know for sure who is going to be there. I don't know if it's been announced. But I know when I was there in 2019, they had funnel cakes, they had spiral spuds, they had deep fried bloomin' onion, they had deep fried Oreos, they had Hawaiian shaved ice, all of the stuff like candy apples, caramel apples, that kind of thing that you expect to find at like court days or any county fair or harvest festival, the tobacco festival, sorghum festival, all of that stuff. They have all of those kinds of things.
Obviously, the slushy lemonade.
Yeah.
Like, if you're literally not going for any other reason.
So it is the full fair and festival experience that you want, plus all of these wonderful storytellers. It's gonna be great. It's gonna be great.
Just show up.
Just show up. Just show up. And this is at Twin Knobs Recreation Area, so that you know where to show up.
Yeah, I guess we should have mentioned that.
So you can Google the directions there. It's actually fairly simple. It's a pretty straight shot from the local roundabout, because we only have one.
The local roundabout.
The roundabout
indeed.
that made international news over in Farmers.
Yes, it did.
Don't get me started.
If you've ever been to the specifically the beach area of Twin Knobs, so even if you're not camping, you can go there. A lot of people, that's where they prefer to swim during the summer. I think you pay like $7 a carload or something to get in. That is that where the festival is set up.
And so it's gonna be really great, because all evening it gets cooler and nicer as that breeze blows in off the lake. Mm-hmm. And it's also it's a really nice area that's well taken care of. The Forestry Service is like, I think, their biggest partner for the event.
Yes, I believe that is the case.
Yep. So they make sure that everything is in tip-top shape, and it's just a really great experience. It is normally, when I go to an outdoor event, I kind of have my limits, whether that is a theme park, whether that is a festival, whether that's just walking around town or whatever, going to the park. The earlier in the day I start, the earlier I want to go home.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
But the Storytelling Festival is one of those where the later it gets, the more I look forward to what's coming next, because there is always something else to keep pulling you forward. And if it sounds like we are talking this event up just way too much,
we're not.
You can't.
I mean, literally, we're probably downplaying it still.
Honestly, yeah. Like, I really agree that it is one of the best annual events that you can find in Eastern Kentucky.
Absolutely.
And they have had 2 years now. Well, technically, actually, they've had 3 years to plan, because we didn't have one in 2020. We didn't have one in 2021. So they had all of those years and all of 2022 to plan this out and make it spectacular. And they really have done that. I know Julie has worked really hard here. She's on the committee that heads it up. And a lot of other community leaders have really pushed hard to make this wonderful. So go and experience that wonder for yourself. It is a treat. Now, so the whole podcast doesn't become us just talking about that.
Because we could.
All
day.
We could. Yeah, I'm almost to the point where I want to like start repeating stories.
Somebody's scrolling through, like looking at all of the podcast episodes, and they're like, oh, this one's an hour, this one's 45. Why is this one 5 hours long? What happened
like,
here?
Let me tell you the story that I heard from Geraldine Buckley. Everyone else has heard it. Let me tell you. No. So also in September, we've got Banned Books Week. Y'all know it. You love it. But this year, it's kind of even more important because you may have heard, if you are a library user, there is a rash of challenges this year. We've had astronomical increases. We have had record numbers of challenged materials across the country. And so this Banned Books Week is even more special than normal because usually we are looking at historical challenges, historical bans. There's always something that's being challenged, right? You know, like genderqueer has been challenged a lot, Stamped has been challenged, A Day in the Life of Marlon Bundo. So there have been things that have come out very recently. The Hate U Give challenged, you know. The Absolutely True Diary of a Part-Time Indian has been challenged a lot. Everything David Levithan has ever written, I think, probably.
Yeah. Yes.
So it's not that book challenges don't exist anymore. It's not a historical event. That is something that goes on all the time, but never in the amounts that we have seen this past year or so. So that means our focus this year is going to be less on historical challenges and more on materials that have been challenged or that have been successfully banned or removed from shelves from mostly school libraries this year. And you should get involved and you should be aware of this event because it is celebrating your freedom to read. Censorship is someone else deciding what you are allowed to have access to. And that's what we fight here at the library with our Library Bill of Rights. That's what every librarian everywhere is fighting just by being a librarian, by being in the library, by the library being open and providing the services that we do. Some people talk about library neutrality. And when they say that, what they mean is that as an institution, we don't take a stance on what should or should not be on our shelves or who should or shouldn't be allowed to check things out. We believe that everyone should have equal access. That's what people say when they say library neutrality. That's what they mean. But the word neutrality really isn't appropriate. It's a myth. Because taking the stance very firmly, very actively, that everyone should have access to everything equally, a lot of folks would consider that pretty radical.
Absolutely.
And you can tell that because there are folks out there who disagree with it. There are people who believe that you should not have the freedom to read anything that you want to, that all materials should not be equally available. And there are all kinds of reasons and justifications and excuses that they give. But what's important at the end of the day is that those materials are here for you, and whether that's because you have a question, whether that's because you're looking to learn something, whether that's just because you're looking for an entertaining story or you have an unusual hobby, it doesn't matter. What matters is that it's on the shelf. So that's what Banned Books Week is about, is highlighting that we are trying to keep those things on the shelf for you where we believe that they belong. So we are holding a Banned Books Bash on September the 29th. That's going to be from 4 to 6 p.m. that Thursday. We are going to explore a bunch of the materials that have been challenged. We're going to talk about the challenges themselves. We're going to talk a little bit about the material. Think of it as kind of like a book tasting. We're going to go over these items and explore why they're controversial. And you are going to get to design and make and take home your own button to wear celebrating your freedom to read and the fight against censorship. And we're also going to have some refreshments, I think I have heard. Don't quote me. I'm not making any promises. But I think I've heard on the grapevine that the popcorn machine may be brought out.
If you have never eaten popcorn from your very own Rowan County Public Library's infamous popcorn machine, then I beg you to show up to this event. If you've never read a book in your life, if you couldn't possibly care less about banned books, which is the wrong opinion to have, but if that's your opinion, just show up, grab one bag of popcorn, and walk back out the door if that's all you want to do. We're not trying to force your hand here. We are a little bit, but mostly it's just that I can't explain to you the capacity at which this will become the greatest popcorn you have ever eaten. Morgan's laughing so hard at me right now.
It's because I agree with you, though, because it's hard to upsell this popcorn because there's different kinds of popcorn, right? There's the kind that everybody buys for the holidays that's got the 3-piece divider where it comes in butter, cheese, and caramel.
And it's all stale as soon as you open it.
You open it and immediately the freshness escapes like Pandora's box.
You open it and it smells like mothballs, even though it's never come into contact with anyone who's come into contact with a mothball.
And then there's kettle corn, which great.
We love kettle corn.
Right? Love it. Special place in my heart, always. And there's all kinds of designer flavors and styles of popcorn, but it's really hard to beat the original movie theater style buttery popcorn that you get to sit down and just that generations have spent time watching a film with. And I mean, we have that, right? We bring it out for movie night too, which is the third Thursday of every month at 5 p.m. if you're interested. But
you are. You're interested.
You are. Again, if for nothing else, the popcorn. Come for the popcorn. Stay for the movie. But this popcorn machine was very kindly provided to us by our friends of the Rowan County Library. And it may be one of the best things that we have that we can offer to the community.
It is. Hands down.
It is an experience. So come for the popcorn. Stay for the fight against censorship.
But that should have been the tagline for this program.
I will adjust the marketing immediately.
Perfect.
Just come for the popcorn, stay for the fight against censorship. But seriously, come treat yourself, get a free button, learn a little bit about Banned Books Week, about what it means and about what it means for us, for you, and enjoy the refreshments. We love to provide those. We do.
Clearly.
Well, we are a community service entity, and I love when anybody from our community or from anywhere comes in here, finds what they need, has a good time, and enjoys the time that they spent here. And that is regardless of whether they were looking for entertainment, whether they were here for leisure, whether they were here for education, to learn something, or if they were just stopping by and visiting. One of the greatest compliments we give is when someone is here in town who is not local, and they come for some event, like maybe families getting married, they're here for a graduation at the university, whatever, and they decide to drop by the local library, because that's something I would do. I was like, I'm going to be in town for a few days. I'll get a temporary library card or something, right? And they come in and they say, oh, what a wonderful library you have. And that sticks with me every time that I hear it. Because, everyone loves to know that they're doing a good job, but when you are a librarian especially, you love to know that you're doing a good job because the job that you're doing matters. And y'all here in our community are not shy about telling us and showing us that you appreciate us and that you believe in that job, and we really appreciate that back.
We absolutely do. We would be nothing without the community. There is no reason for us to exist.
Yeah, a library without library patrons is just a building full of books.
Absolutely.
And a building full of books is important on its own merit, but books don't do anything if they're not read. Movies don't do anything if they're not watched. Video games don't do anything if they're not played. Art doesn't do anything if it isn't seen and experienced. So if the library isn't used, it's not doing anything. And the fact that y'all come here and use the library is the greatest support you can give us. And that just makes our day. I'm really just, I'm so glad to see the traffic up where it is post-COVID. It's taken a while, but we are almost back, I think, to where we were back in like 2019.
Megan and I were actually just having this conversation about how we feel right now like we will never take for granted the days that are so busy that we don't have a second to breathe for 8 hours straight again, because you guys, there's no way to explain it. There's no way to describe what it was like in here during the time that we were shut down for COVID, when no one was allowed inside the building besides an incredibly sparse staff. That's not the way that a library is supposed to feel.
It felt like, the closest thing I can compare it to is it felt like sitting in a hospital room with someone who was sick and holding their hand waiting for them to get better.
It did.
It was that kind of feeling, that sort of hopelessness where you're waiting for something to change, but you're in the room with something sad and unpleasant. And you know that this is not how things are supposed to be. And then when we were able to reopen to the community and get people to come back in here, it was like watching someone get better and bounce back from that illness. It was awful.
It was almost like, you know, have you ever had like a dog or like a young family member, like a child, like a little cousin or a niece or nephew or something, and like they're absolutely bouncing off the walls hyper all the time, and it is so much to handle. And then something happens and maybe they get hurt or they get sick or something, and you realize so quickly how much you miss having to hold yourself to that standard of energy just to see that person or that animal or that entity in the space that it should be in again. And it is exactly, that's how it feels to us. It's like,
yeah, it's a powerful relationship. And it was like when the library lost its patrons, we lost something too, in the same way that, like in that example that you described, when someone else kind of, they lose that energy, they lose that spunk, that spirit. And just by virtue of seeing that absent from them, you feel like you are lesser also. And you feel like you will not fully recover until they have. And so seeing the community and the library itself with that spirit having recovered, having bounced back from that illness, which is what it was, is really heartening to all of us, because we just didn't feel right when it was shut down. It's what we had to do. We were doing the right thing, but it felt wrong to be in the building and to have it just be dead and empty and echoey. And handing things out the drive-through window to you was not good enough. It was not the best substitute. And so now that we are able to do programming, we've got packed story times. Like, the story times have gotten so crazy, we've had to split them up and do more than one. And people are so packed into the community room, we can't fit them all.
And Megan's got all of her programs back now.
Yeah,
and Julie's brought Chow Club back. Cindy's
brought Preserving Your Heritage back. And stuff. And,
yeah.
And we've got more new programs on the way. And it's just, and then being able to go to the Arts and Crafts Festival, being able to go to the Cave Run Storytelling Festival, being able to hold a celebration for Banned Books Week, and already looking forward and planning things like our family fall fun night, or some of our Halloween and October programs, our Thanksgiving stuff.
Man, and we get to have our Christmas open house again this year.
Yes, for the first time since 2019, or was it actually 2018?
I think we did do it in 2019.
Because 2020 was the first year that we were completely shut down. See, it's been so long now, I'm not sure. I think we did do it in 2019. I think we did
it in 2019. So at least in 3 years.
Yeah, this will be our first one in 3 years.
Which I'm very excited for. Yeah.
I am too. It's going to be great, and we're going to make a big deal out of it. So look forward to more details about that as well. And I'll tell you where you can look forward to more details about it. Because...
cough, cough.
We, if you haven't heard already, are in the middle of working on a new website, and a lot of it is done. We are still working on the back end. We're working with our developers to make it the best that it can be. We are taking your input from the survey that we ran back at the beginning of development, and we're going to be doing another stage of that as well. We'll be getting some more feedback on the beta version of the site before we roll out the finished product. But it's going very well. And I'm going to go ahead and prepare y'all now. If you listen to the podcast, that might mean that your primary source for other library news and information could be our social media. Maybe you follow us on Facebook, Goodreads, YouTube, Twitter, Instagram, and that is where you get most of your library information. If that is the case, we are going to continue using our social media, but I want to go ahead and start preparing people now. We're not going to have as many things like Facebook events, for example, because we have a brand new shiny calendar system that's going to be really great for you. It's going to make it easy to get all the information about our programs and events in one place. And if registration is required for those programs, to do it with a single click, all in one spot. So you don't have to hunt and find all through our website where that's located. You don't have to go to multiple pages. So instead of having like a Facebook event, we'll have an event on our website and we'll post a link on our social media that will take you there to that. So it's the same number of clicks, in fact, even fewer clicks, but with more information and all of that centralized for your convenience. So that should be rolling out sometime in December. We were hoping to have it out before the holiday open house and do like a big reveal, but I don't think that's going to happen. So it might be something that we celebrate with New Year's, for example. But you can look forward to that, and hopefully at the Christmas open house or the holiday open house, we will maybe have like a more solid date to give you then. So just keep an eye out, and as we have more updates on that, we will give them to you as soon as we've got them. In the meantime, continue to go to our regular website. You can check our children's, teens, and adult programming pages for all of our perennial stuff, because a lot of it has, like, we're at this point, I think we're at full sale, so to speak.
Yeah, I absolutely would say that we are.
I can't think of any other programs we had that are still on hiatus except for Litwits.
I'm not sure if we're going to bring...
I think they're talking about like having a new book club that's coming back in a different form, so it may or may not be called Litwits. But Julie has done a lot of survey work finding out what y'all want in a book club and how the best way is to deliver it. So Litwits has not come back, and I think everything else is. And we're talking about I was told just earlier today about some new programs that are on their way that are probably going to be monthly or weekly.
Yeah, absolutely. So you'll just have to stay tuned for all of that and keep checking in with us and keep visiting us, and you'll get your information as we get our information.
Absolutely. And keep listening to the podcast. Remember, it's the first and third Saturday every month. We will see you next time. I'm Morgan.
I'm Emery.
And this has been The Reading Room, the podcast brought to you by your Rowan County Public Library.